Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. That's ziprecruiter.com/zip. ziprecruiter.com/zip.
The True Crime Society podcast contains adult themes and violence and is not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. And if you'd like to skip the intro or move to any specific part of the podcast, please refer to the timestamps listed in the episode description. Thank you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of True Crime Society podcast with Stephanie and Olivia. It is June 22nd right now here in New York. We're recording on a Sunday. The weather here is crazy, as always. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually, well, I guess it is kind of crazy. Not this moment, but the next few days we're in an extreme heat wave. We're like getting extreme heat warnings because the temperature is going to be over 100 degrees, and like with the humidity, it's going to be even worse. So I don't know. Maybe it's the end of the end of the world with everything going on, as we always say. Because I literally feel like 2 weeks ago I was talking about how it's 60 degrees and rainy and cold every day, even though it's June, and now I'm getting over like 100-degree weather here.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm lucky I got a new air conditioner, so we're really gonna put it to the test right off the bat.
Still cold here. It's sunny though, at least. Like, I feel like winter is generally all right here as long as it's sunny because it's still warm in the sun. I just looked at the weather. It looks nice until Friday and then it's going to rain. So that's fun. But
So we're recording on a Sunday today because we are trying to prepare for when I have this baby. So we're trying to do some double recording weeks so that we can get a couple episodes backed up just in case of an emergency, or obviously, you know, when I'm like literally in labor, I can't record. So we're going to try to backlog some. I'm still going to try to record as much as possible just because, one, I kind of enjoy doing it and I do enjoy doing it. And I don't know, people are like, no, take time off. But I don't know, I like doing it. We'll do our best to keep up with it as much as we can live, but obviously it'll be a little hard at first, especially. So we're going to be doing some backup recordings. So that's what we're going to be up to. We're going to have a busy few weeks. Like, I only have 60, hold on, I have it down my watch, 63 days until my due date. So
wow, coming around quick.
I know, that makes it sound crazy.
I feel like with podcasting too, like people can be fickle. So if you don't put out episodes, they might forget about you a little bit. So we need to try and just stay as out there as we can.
Yeah, and honestly, if I had to choose between my regular job and like being able to podcast full time, I'd choose podcasting. Like, I enjoy doing it. The only reason I ever like complain about being exhausted and miserable is because it's hard to do both. So it's like I'd rather, with the time that I have, put as much effort towards the podcast as I can. So don't worry.
I had a comment this week where someone's like, can you guys please just hurry up and quit your normal job so you can do this more?
I would love to.
Again, it's just too fickle.
Yeah. It's if you're thinking of starting a podcast, don't.
Unless you've got some, do you know what? We probably picked the worst genre to do because it's so oversaturated as well. Like, if you have some super niche, amazing podcast, go for it.
And you're very passionate about it.
Yeah. But true crime is a tough one because there are a lot of true crime podcasts and a lot of true crime content. So it's hard to keep your head above water sometimes.
Yeah. Not to sound like we're complaining, like I said.
No, we're not. Absolutely. Our choice. And we love doing it. But it's, just Pick another
It's just
market,
people.
basically.
I was just trying to say, like, people have this dream of like, oh my God, you're gonna have a podcast. It's gonna be so easy. It's gonna be so profitable. You're gonna be like Joe Rogan. Absolutely not.
One day. We still have aspirations one day.
Yeah, maybe. Would be nice. Yeah, we also have our listener of the week. We've been keeping up with it. You guys seem to be liking it. Like, we've been getting more nice messages, so our plan is working.
So this week it's Mariah. She wrote, so it's become my dream and life goal to be listener of the week. I absolutely love you guys. Some people have comfort shows. I have a comfort podcast and it's you guys. I'm always flabbergasted at the haters who don't like the chat. I'd rather listen to an old episode, including the chat, than try a new podcast because I never like them as much. I listen on Patreon now, but sometimes I re-listen on Spotify so I can keep my status as top 1% at the year-end wrap-up. I just love you guys. How funny. That's so nice.
I know, and like that's people like that is why I like want to put in the effort and do as much as I can, because like I love all of our listeners that are here for us, and I can't let them down, even though those listeners would probably be like the nicest about it. But like, yeah, it just keeps me motivated and wanting to do more.
Yeah, so lovely.
But I'm the same way with some podcasts. Like, I know there's thousands, maybe even millions of podcasts at this point in the world. And I have like my niche, like 4 podcasts that I'm like, these are my favorites. And then I try to find new ones. And I'm like, no, I hate them all. I hate every single one.
And there are even some podcasts where I like the formatting. Like I know where they're going to put the ads in. Like, so I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to listen to a new one and have to figure them out. I'll just go back and re-listen to an old one of theirs.
That's what I try to remember with us too. And people complain about the chat is like when you try to get into a new podcast for the first time, it's kind of jarring at first. You have to like ease your way in. You have to like adjust to everyone, how the show goes. So that's what I tell myself of when people complain, like, oh, they're just not used to us yet.
Yeah. Before we finish up with the show, today's episode is sponsored by Skylight. I just feel like sometimes my brain is at such capacity. I have to ask my kids, what have you got on today? What uniform do you need today? What sports have you got on today? It's so hard to remember the errands, the birthdays, your dinner plans for Tuesday. And that's why we love Skylight Calendar. It handles all of that for us. You can sync your entire family's schedule onto a sleek digital display so you can focus on more important things like remembering where you left your coffee or your keys. I feel like my kids absolutely love using it, and it's just been so helpful for our entire family.
Yeah, it's really cool. My sister's always trying to steal mine, actually, and I'm like, no, I use it. Excuse me, get your own.
My sister-in-law's been asking me a lot about it. She's like, tell me about it. I feel like it's just something that a lot of people would find so useful and be able to organize your life efficiently and easily.
So the calendar, it's Wi-Fi connected. It has a digital display that showcases your family's schedule with clarity, color, and brilliance in either a 10 or 15-inch HD touchscreen. You can also sync it with all of your other calendars seamlessly, like if you've been using Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, Outlook, all of that, you can just import it right in. So that's awesome. You don't have to like start over if you already have a beefy calendar set up. You can also manage different events, chores, which is really cool. You can even put grocery lists on it with different coordinating colors for like each family member, which would eliminate the excuse of not knowing what they needed to do because everyone can have their own color. So right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/TCS. Go to skylightcal.com/TCS for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's skylightcal.com/TCS. Okay, so let's get into what we're talking about today. I'm like excited for this episode, which sounds bad because it is about a murder, but like we were just browsing for ideas because, like I said, we were trying to like stockpile some episodes, so we gotta get a lot done in bulk. And I was browsing around and I saw this topic discussed on Reddit, and it's about the Stockdale family murders, which is a family that was on Wife Swap back when Wife Swap was super popular in 2008. And I specifically remember this family because they were so different, unique, I guess you could say. They it's the Stockdale family. They like lived on a farm. They were very strict with all their sons. They had a family band. It was like a pretty interesting episode. I tried to rewatch it for this, but a lot of it's been wiped from YouTube, so it's hard to watch with it being so old. But I used to love that show, And I never knew that there was like a murder that resulted out of this family, it was crazy to see.
Yeah, it is actually. I feel like they probably have tried to sweep it a little bit under the rug. Well, their involvement in wife swap, because I guess that maybe
Yeah.
exacerbated the situation a little bit. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion anyway.
So yeah, we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about the episode. Like I said, I can find some clips to put in, but it does seem like a lot of the episodes been wiped from the internet. I haven't tried actually looking at like if I could just buy the episode or something, because then I might be able to clip it. Because of course, the one part that I'd want the most is if you remember from Wife Swap, if you watched it at the start of the episode, you'd spend a couple minutes with one family, kind of doing their introduction, what they're all about, what life's like there. I could find it for the other family, but the Stockdale one, I can't find it. It's like been wiped from the internet.
I hate how
So
they do
I
that.
watched some parts. I can put in clips of some parts, but I'll do my best to find that part because that'd probably be the most telling part of the whole thing. So we'll go through it the best we can because luckily there is still a lot online, a lot of information. Like the wife swap manual is online, which gives a lot of info. So we'll get into that. But if you didn't know, one of the sons, I think there was 5 sons, right?
4. I'm pretty sure there's 4. Yeah,
4.
Calvin, Charles, James, and Jacob. 4.
4. So if
Yep.
you're not familiar, there was 4 sons in this family. They all had their band. They weren't allowed to watch TV, play video games, date, all that. In 2017, 2 of the sons at that time, they had not lived at home anymore. So 2 of the sons did. I think the dad just wasn't home. One of the 2 sons that still lived there tried to murder suicide the other brother and the mother, and he did end up killing the other brother and the mother, but when he shot himself, he
In the head.
ended
In the
up
head.
surviving. Yeah, he shot
Yeah.
himself in the head, ended up surviving. So it's just like a wild story. But we'll start with some background. They are Stockdale Family, as I said. They appeared in a 2008 episode of Wife Swap. Due to that, we know a lot about their background. If you're not familiar with Wife Swap, which I feel like most people, at least my age, Americans should be, because it was like a huge show at the time. It's an American series that deliberately swaps wives with dramatically different lifestyles, such as a messy wife swapping with a very neat wife, or a wife who only cooks vegan food with a non vegan one. And it would document the cultural and societal differences between the 2 families. And then they would swap rules and try to like expose to a new lifestyle, try to like be more open minded. And at the end, they would kind of all come together. Was that wife swap? The 2 families
Yeah. And they
come
would
together,
talk about what they've learned from each other's lifestyles,
and they'd always fight, basically.
yeah. Have they learned anything? And they'd be like, "You're a shitty parent," and
And
all
they'd be
that
like,
type of
"You're a
stuff.
bitch." Yeah.
There was another show that was similar called Trading Spouses.
Trading
which I don't know.
spouses.
So I was thinking, because there was one episode of that always sticks out for me, and it was about the God Warrior. Do you remember her? Her name was Marguerite Perrin, and she was like a crazy religious fanatic. And I always,
Yeah.
for some reason, that one always stuck out to me, and I always remember that, especially now, because the daughter ended up dying from that one as well, but she died in a car accident. But yeah, just some wild,
There was memes
crazy
of her
ones
for
that
a long
stick
time.
out.
That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, she was like yelling about gargoyles or something. I don't know. So like we were just saying, when the wives would swap, they'd write up like this big manual for the new incoming wife to take a read through with like all their family rules, what the family's all about. And the new wife would be expected to kind of follow that for the first week or however many days. And then they would swap and follow the rules of the new wife for the last half. So the Stockdale Family manual is still online. We'll link the whole thing in our blog, but we'll just read some snippets from it because it is very like lengthy.
Yeah, I've got it up now. Like, I'm just scrolling. I would say if it was printed, it would be at least 20 A4 pages. Like, it's not
That's
like just like a
crazy.
1-page kind of schedule. She has gone into, like, I can't even imagine how long this would have taken to write up. She's gone into a lot of detail about their whole entire life. So it's a very interesting read, just because she's obviously, I'm assuming she mainly wrote it. She has spent a lot of time on this.
I wonder like if they were all a similar length or if like hers was a lot longer. I'd be curious to know, because I'm like, I couldn't imagine writing that many pages on my day-to-day life. Granted, I don't have 4 children and a farm and a family band to write about, but like I could not imagine writing like 20 something pages about me and my lifestyle, because it's like, what, I get up, I feed Peep, I go to work. I don't know.
Anytime like I've been away and if someone like my kids go to the grandparents or something, like sometimes I'll do like a 1-page weekly schedule with like, so they've got dance this day, this, just so people know. But like this is like a novel about their family.
Yeah, totally. So we'll read the little intro. It says, "Welcome to our home. We're not just a family, we're a band, the Stockdale Family Band. We play bluegrass in barn dances and shindigs all over our area. We have Calvin on banjo, Charles on mandolin, Jacob on fiddle, and James on upright bass. Tim, my husband, is on guitar, and I'm the manager. A family that plays together stays together, and there's nothing so wholesome as playing old-time bluegrass with your favorite people, your family. We moved to the country to get the boys away from the city. Our children are being raised away from violent language, sexual influences, drinking, smoking, drugs, rap music, all things we left behind in the city. Instead, we're raising our children on a diet of wholesome activities and farm work, keeping their minds pure and their bodies healthy, and keeping out the influences of modern society. That is why we homeschool. Children need structure, and there's plenty of structure in this house. Our boys know what they're supposed to be doing from the sun up to sundown. They're busy doing chores, running the farm, doing schoolwork, and, of course, practicing for performances. Everything they need is here on the farm with their family. Processed and fast foods are forbidden. Food is nourishment for the mind as well as the body, so it's important to eat right. We mostly only eat foods that we grow or we buy from local farmers. That way, we know it's healthy and natural. I give my boys a large spoonful Ew. I give my boys a large spoonful of cod liver oil after dinner to keep their hearts and minds strong. TV and video games are banned. They produce redundant minds and lazy children. I want my boys to be active, productive, and busy every waking moment.
I feel
Internet
like
access. I know. I'm like, this sounds like prison.
Yeah.
The boys are not encouraged to date until they are ready to get married. They need to concentrate on building the right foundations for a healthy and moral life, not thinking about girls. There's plenty of time to worry about that when they have found their bride-to-be and are ready to settle down. Our motto is, it might be a hard life, but it's a good life. We're the Stockdale family. Kathy, 44, Tim, 48, Calvin, 19, Charles, 16, Jacob, 15, and James, 11. And that was the ages at that time. So there's a lot more to the manual. Some other notes that Olivia took out of it are the family had very traditional roles, as we can see. Kathy cooked and cleaned and ran the house. She said, I stay at home so that I can shape the way they grow and how they are influenced. It's important for children to have boundaries. They will have to live in a world that has rules, and if they don't learn to comply now, they're going to have a harder time later in life. She also homeschooled the boys. She said, homeschooling the boys means they're not affected by outside influences and are able to grow up in a safe and wholesome environment. Tim also ran the farm with the boys. He had a full-time job outside of the home as well. And from what I've seen from the episode, a lot of this is put on Kathy being very strict because she's kind of, I guess, as a victim of the crime, the focus. But Tim was just as much into all this as she was. The manual also listed typical meals that the family would eat. So, for example, it says Monday menu, breakfast giblets, parentheses, chicken hearts and gizzards. How do you say it? Muesli?
Muesli. That's granola. I don't know why she calls it muesli. We call it muesli here. Muesli, granola are interchangeable. It's like oats and nuts and stuff.
I've never heard that.
Because here, a snack that the kids take to school are muesli bars. So everyone knows here. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe I'm just dumb.
I don't know why she doesn't use that term. But anyway, yeah, it's muesli with cream, sorghum, or honey. She writes.
What is sorghum?
It's I thought sorghum was like a wheat, puffed. Let me just hold on.
It sounds very oatmeal-esque.
Gluten-free grain. So it's it says it can be used. So maybe that's how she makes the muesli with sorghum. It's like a grain that you can, I don't want to say it's like oats, but it's like the same type of thing as that.
Clearly I didn't eat like this growing up. So. Sorry, I don't know these things. So that, also raisins or dates. dairy kefir. Like, what is dairy kefir? Water kefir?
Well, we say kefir. Kefir. It's
Kefir.
like
I have no
it's
idea what it is, so I could be saying it wrong.
It's like a I think you guys have like Yakult there. It's like a fermented. It's usually quite sour. Like here, they come in little plastic kind of like shot. That's not a shot, but like you drink it really quick. It's not an enjoyable thing. Basically, it's good for your gut health.
Let me look this
So
up.
yeah,
I don't fermented milk drink similar to a thin yogurt that's made from grains. Okay.
Do you have
So, like I
Yakult
said-
there? Like Yakult is like a fairly big thing.
I don't even
that
know
you
what
buy
that
in,
is
like,
either.
you buy it in the refrigerated section. It comes in like, it's only like a little tiny drink. Like it's enough like a shot. It says it's a fermented milk drink containing a unique strain of bacteria. It's good for potential digestive health benefits. So it's that type of thing.
I don't know. This all sounds crazy to me. I'm sure people are gonna be like, "You're an idiot," but like this all sounds crazy to me. I'm like, I have my Reese's Puff cereal and my little yogurts. Okay, so all that with flaxseed, whole food with flaxseed, and then I think this is meant to be like entered, like the supplements that they take. It seems like whole food supplements, calcium lactate, James times 6, whole food supplement, Catalin, everyone 1 each. Digestive enzyme supplements, Mom, Dad, Calvin, and James 1 each. So for lunch, they have fried liver on bread and butter and mustard set out to warm. They also have blueberry shakes, and then again, it has the supplements. Supper, they have herb baked chicken, green salad with fixins, corn on the cob with butter, sliced tomatoes, plus the cod liver oil and butter oil, and again, the supplements. So, sorry, that was a little confusing to get through because the manual,
really
it's not like
formatted,
punctuated anymore. It was probably listed as bullets or something. In the manual, Kathy also spoke about how she met Tim. She said, both Tim and I went to college and studied agriculture. That's where we met each other in agronomy.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that, but that's what I would say.
In agronomy class and started to date before getting married. Oh, so it's okay for you, girl? Okay. She goes on to say, although I dated when I was at college, I don't want my boys to date until they are ready to get married. Charles is already asking questions about it, so I sit down with him and explain that it is not the best thing to do just yet.
And just to add, at that time, Charles was 16. So I feel like it's quite normal for a 16-year-old boy to look to maybe start dating.
Interested in girls.
Yeah. So she's like, Charles is already, and I'm like, he's 16.
Already. Teenagers can suffer emotional traumas or even diseases by focusing their lives on dating too early. I remember wasting so much of my time on dating that now I look back and just seems so pointless. When they have established themselves, then they can go out looking, but not until then. She also really re-emphasized her parenting values. She said, I try to limit the amount of influence the 21st century has on my boys so that they can grow up in a wholesome and carefree manner. Video games, TV, and dating are all banned in this house. I want my boys to concentrate on the good things in life like family, unity, music, and education. Not allowing my boys to watch television and play video games is one of the sole reasons they are who they are today. I'm always asked how I get the boys to be so interested in playing instruments. It's more like, how do I stop them from playing all the time? Their daily lives are not distracted with modern technological obstacles that entertain them to death. I always say, if it's fun, it doesn't mean you have to do it. Like, what is it? That's not even a saying. What do you mean? If it's fun, not for you. And then it also says, I'm the disciplinarian in the house, but Tim backs me up. Kathy was asked if her children were well behaved in the manual, and she said, my boys are very well behaved, just like we have raised them. She spoke about the house rules. It says, do you have house rules? She wrote, the first rule of this house is to obey your parents. Teaching the boys respect is vital in this modern world where so many children disrespect adults. We don't tolerate any of the boys hurting each other physically or verbally and insist that if they make a mess, they clean it up.
The parts that I picked out from the manual, I picked out specifically because I found it interesting based on now us knowing what happens later. But she was very big on my boys do what I tell them to do. They're very well behaved. I'm the disciplinarian. So, it's It's just kind of interesting and a little bit eerie now that we know what ended up happening, that she thought that she probably did have this control over these 4 boys for all those years, and then something happened.
Yeah. We'll talk about more as we go on, but it's just interesting, like, reading all of this and how she thought they were, like, so wholesome, great, amazing, like, better than everyone else, essentially. But the other wife who goes there, we'll talk about them in a second, her name is Lori. There's 2 different parts where she starts literally just crying because she's like, and she says, like, "I feel like these boys are slaves." She's like,
Yeah.
"They work sun up, sun down. They have no fun." She's like, "They don't get to be kids. They really seem like slaves."
To confront Tim over the control he exerts over his sons.
You're not allowing them to make choices.
Well, you know,
You've got everything written from the morning you get up till the time you go to bed. Let your kids fly a little bit. Have fun, laugh.
I believe that if I were to do what you're saying, that my children may end up having live-in girlfriend. I'm not letting the world dictate to me how to raise my kids. I certainly believe she loves her children, but I love my children too. And if they do something wrong, I can say, you know, I love you, but I don't love the thing you're doing right now, and I want you to stop. And I don't know that she's ever done that.
In Ohio, having failed to get through to Tim, an exasperated Lori tries to find out what the boys would do if they had more freedom.
So you like having everything just scheduled out for you?
Yeah, it's nice because I know what I have to do next.
What would,
not just
what would
like
you do if you didn't have a schedule?
just like not doing
Anything.
work.
Anything. No work.
I would have a lot more free time.
To do what?
Play around with my brothers.
God, I feel so sad for these kids. I'm gonna take them all home with me. I asked him what he would like to do, if he could do anything, and he doesn't even know. I mean, they need to know that there's other ways of doing things, and then let them decide what they want to do. I didn't realize this was gonna be so hard.
The Stockdale family was from Ohio, and the family that they appeared on Wife Swap with were the Tonkovic family from Illinois. And that family consisted of Lori, who's 45, her husband John, 52, and their 2 kids, Paul, who's 21, and Megan, who is 17. So this is just like a little recap article from CantonRep.com about it. It says, she swaps family with Kathy Stockdale, 44, of Ohio, a woman with whom she has little in common. The Tonkovic children's boyfriend and girlfriend live with them, though they sleep in different rooms in the basement. The family has a modeling daughter and a son who is an aspiring rapper. The more conservative Stockdales live on a 150-year-old farm and have taught their 4 sons skills such as clog dancing, growing vegetables, and raising animals for meat. The Stockdale boys rarely mingle with outsiders, and dating is out of the question. Lori said, "I would never want to live their lifestyle. I was amazed that people really live like this." Another summary on the episode from Reddit. We'll link the post in the blog. It says, Kathy swapped places with Lori Tonkovic, a mother from a chaotic, permissive urban household in Illinois. The contrast could not have been starker. Lori's children were allowed to party, shirk chores, and pursue romantic relationships freely, while Kathy's boys lived under strict rules and constant supervision. The show's producers, known for amplifying drama, crafted scenarios designed to provoke conflict and highlight the extremes of both families' lifestyles. During the swap, Kathy was appalled by the Tonkovic's lack of discipline, while Lori was disturbed by what she saw as the Stockdale's stifling control. Lori later claimed that Jacob, then a teenager, was so distressed by the introduction of television and video games that he ran outside crying, terrified that he would burn in hell for breaking his parents' rules. Lori believed that the Stockdale children were denied the ability to make choices and experience normal childhood freedoms. So I watched what I could of the episode, like I was saying, and there is a part where the boys, when they switch to the new rules, Lori brings in video games for them to play. I thought it was interesting because they were having fun, but I think it was the younger one, he said, "I feel guilty, but I love it." So it's like, and the other one was like, "Well, it's fun, but it's not productive." So it's like they had this so ingrained into them that they were like scared to enjoy it.
In Ohio, with chores banned, the boys have been playing video games all morning, and it's Tim's responsibility to do all the work around the farm.
What do you guys think about this?
It's fun for the present. It has no value, really, at
I
times.
feel guilty right now, but I love it.
I believe my children are becoming mind-numb robots, totally oblivious to everything else that's going on.
This is still from the Reddit post. It says, after the cameras, public scrutiny, and family life. This is when the episode aired in 2008. Both families faced public backlash. The Stockdales were criticized for their rigid parenting, with some viewers accusing Kathy and Tim of emotional abuse. The family, however, seemed unfazed by the controversy. Kathy even promoted the episode on her blog, and the band continued to perform, capitalizing on their newfound notoriety.
It's so interesting to me that she chose for them to be a wife swap. I'm guessing she probably sorted out, like the kids likely couldn't have because they didn't have access to the internet. But for someone who's apparently so strict, so against all of this.
I wonder if they could have been recruited.
Yeah, maybe. But then also, if that is so totally against your values, why would you go on wife swap? It does seem to me like she did. I looked at the blog, she kept going on the blog for years after wife swap. So I feel like she did like the attention a little bit. But,
well, so I noticed when I watched the parts that I could, she's very like smug and condescending. I know we kind of say that a lot on this episode, but she definitely thinks she is right. She's better than everyone else. And I think she kind of enjoys pushing her views on other people, so in feeling superior. Because there's times throughout the episode where members from the other family would like the dad would be like standing up for the kids because she was like, they're spoiled, they're lazy, they're horrible. And he'd be like, I have a good relationship with my kids. They love me, blah, blah, blah. And she would always just go like, like she would always do, And it was really annoying. Even one of the girls, she was like, well, are you going to take anything from us? Or are you going to learn to like not be so closed-minded? And she was like, you think I'm closed-minded? And she was like, yeah. And that like really got to her. That really pissed her off to the point where like she started crying about it, which seemed very off-brand about her. She was like, I'm shocked that they think I'm closed-minded.
Their style of living is fruitless. It's time for the Tonkovics to learn. Work comes before play.
The families are summoned to the rules change ceremony. It's time for the wives to lay down the new rules which the families must obey.
Tonkovics, it's time someone turned you into a wholesome family. I've disconnected the TV and boxed up all your video games. They're gone. In their place will be good, hard work. Money is not something that's handed to you for nothing. So you're going to earn your spending money working on the farm.
I just had my nails done.
John, I'm going to sit you down and teach you that fatherhood is more than just providing support for your kids. It's setting an example by providing them discipline and guidance for the future.
My dad has been a wonderful dad, and I don't think you are the person to judge that.
Well, we'll talk more when we have lessons.
Yeah.
It's time we turn back to a more wholesome style of entertainment. This family is going to throw an old-fashioned barn dance.
That sounds like fun.
And Paul, I want you to write a rap song that's curse-free.
Guess I could give it a try.
So I did take some notes when I watched what I could of the episode. So these are just kind of some bullet points that I made. Like, for example, they are getting ready. They're packing up, ready to go to the other house. And Kathy brings some beef stock with her in a jar for whatever reason. And she tells the kids to remember their principles before she leaves. None of them hug or anything like that. But the other family all hugged their mom and were like, we love you so much. We're going to miss you, blah, blah, blah. First comment she made about the other house when she got there was, seems like they don't care about their yard a lot. But meanwhile, to me, it looked like a pretty average yard. She went inside. She's like, major filth, very dirty. One thing was because the boyfriend, girlfriend were living with them, I guess. She was going around the house and she picked up a girl's shirt. She's like, that's a young lady's shirt in a young man's room. I don't get it. Then she takes the girls out for manicures at one point because she's following the rules of like their house at that time. They would get manicures. She talks to the girls about premarital sex and they're talking about that a bit. And she said that she felt if a girl didn't save herself for marriage, then she would be more likely to cheat on one of her sons. Things like that. She also talks to them about diseases and STDs and pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. She then confronts the dad about how the kids are spoiled because they got I mean, it was 3 manicures, I guess. It was $46, which I feel like is pretty cheap, because they all got their nails done. She was, like, appalled by that. She also tells the father of the new household that he shouldn't be friends with his children because then he's not a parent. Like I said, overall very condescending. I wrote a note about how I was saying before, Lori, the other wife, was crying because she felt like the boys were treated like slaves. She asked the youngest son what he would do if he had more free time, and he like didn't even know, like, because he's never had that before. He was like, I don't know, I guess like play around with my brothers more. So Lori then tells Tim, the Stockdale husband, that the boys will never learn to deal with reality if they're not allowed to live. And he like laughed, like, preposterous idea. Like, what do you mean? I also wrote, when they were playing the video games, they were saying like, I feel guilty, but I love it. I said that about Kathy saying she was closed-minded. And that part's kind of... There was a part where Lori was trying to get the 2 older boys to like go out and like on a weekend, like just hang out, go somewhere like teenagers do. And they seemed very panicked about it at first. And Lori was like, how about you just do it for me? Like try something new. And they were both like, okay, we'll do it. We'll try something new. And then when Lori went to tell Tim about it, he was like, absolutely not. I'll talk to them about that. And that's kind of when the episode cut off and it was as far as I could watch. But I think from what I remember, they did end up going.
So after their wife swap appearance, life kind of went back to how it was for the Stockdales. The older boys, Calvin and Charles, went to college and started their own families. As we mentioned, Kathy kept a blog for a while. The last entries that I can find online were from 2011, so about 3 years after the wife swap episode. This is one I pulled out just because I thought it's on brand. It's from May 2011, and this is how like she goes, "What's doing with the family and the farm?" She wrote, "Rain has kept us out of the garden, but I have everything from onions to zucchini seedlings waiting undercover for their day in the sun. Kind of like what I have felt all winter and spring. How about you?" We especially look forward to celebrating Calvin's wedding this month. But first, Miss Katie graduates from Hillsdale College. So I'm assuming that's the partner of Calvin, because she goes, but first Miss Katie graduates from Hillsdale College, and then we send them off into marital bliss. They both are counting the days. So by 2017, 9 years after the wife swap episode, just the younger two, Jacob and James, were still living on the family farm. I had a look at the farm on real estate sites. The address is out there because the police report is out there. I do think the dad still lives there, so we won't blast it publicly, but it's out there. It looks like a nice farmhouse. Again, it seems like it's been scrubbed on all the real estate sites. It's just the street view, which you can't see anything. There is one photo I found, and it looks like a very kind of rustic but lovely log cabin, beautifully manicured grounds, like a very neat, tidy place. So on June 15th, 2017, police responded to the Stockdale farm just after 4 p.m. They were there to investigate a 911 hang-up call. As I mentioned, the police report is online. I'll pop it on the blog if you want to read the whole thing, but I've just summarized it. It says 2 deputies arrived on scene and they noticed a dog pacing back and forth from the driveway to the front door. The dog was whining. One officer walked up to the front door and they noticed a person laying on his back. The officer was about to check the condition of that person when they heard a gunshot. So the deputies ran back to their vehicles and got their weapons, which is wild to me. I feel like now they would just carry them all the time, but
I mean,
they
not
ran
much
back
action over there.
Yeah. So they kind of ran and took cover and got their weapons at their vehicles. They called for backup. More law enforcement arrived on the scene and they all entered the house. They found one male laying near the front door with a gunshot wound. There was a shotgun laying near his side. There was also another individual laying on the floor in the kitchen with a gunshot wound, and they found a third person in the upstairs bathroom also with a gunshot wound. So while the police were there and investigating, Timothy, the dad, arrived at the house and he was taken to a neighbor's house so he didn't have to witness the scene, I guess. Kathy, who was 54 by that time, and her son James, who was 21, had been shot dead. Jacob, who was 25 then, had shot himself in the head and he was critically injured, but he was alive. Jacob was hospitalised and he underwent multiple surgeries. Funerals for Kathy and James were held on June 24th, 2017. We've mentioned in the past, I'm always interested in an obituary in a murder-suicide type situation to see if they acknowledged the murderer, and in this case they did. I've just picked out some interesting excerpts from both of the obits. In Kathy's, it says, Kathy's love of learning led her to continuously seek knowledge and wisdom, freely sharing them with others. She focused on Christ and family and fully embraced her role as a mother and grandmother. She was a champion of local sustainable agriculture, food freedom, health, and homesteading. It says Kathy pursued a classical liberal arts education for her sons through homeschooling. She was a wonderful teacher committed to discerning truth and the pursuit of learning. She never shied away from a spirited discussion, encouraging the boys to engage in debate both in their class and at home. While teaching certainly took place in the classroom, it permeated everything she did with her sons. She passionately pursued her sons' betterment through education, not only in the standard subjects, but through her passion for their health, spiritual growth, and political and economic philosophy. It says she married Timothy Stockdale in 1985, and they dedicated their 32 years together to providing a loving home and strong foundation for their sons, Calvin, Charles, Jacob, and James. And then they say James, who rests with his mother in the arms of the Lord. So Jacob is the murderer. He's still got the mention in the obituary. This is what I've picked up from James. It says James was the youngest son of Catherine and Timothy. He was born on March 4th, 1996. He grew up on the family farm. He was homeschooled, enjoyed competitive speech and debate, and was elected governor of Ohio in the statewide Teen Pact policy program. He loved banjo guitar and playing banjo guitar with his father and brothers in the Stockdale Family Band. He also studied business admin at Kent State with a goal of pursuing a career in entertainment management. With his ready smile, great sense of humor, and outgoing personality, James was a well-known catalyst for family fun. He enjoyed dancing, skiing, farming, fishing, hunting, and camping, displaying an innate love of nature. He easily made new friends wherever he went, and he leaves behind many friends and family who love him dearly. Calvin, one of the older brothers, made some statements after the murders. He spoke about James and basically just repeated a lot of what was already said in the obituary about how they missed him and what his hopes and dreams had been. He did go on to speak about Jacob, the murderer. He said, "My brother Jacob is still in a critical condition, and we are praying for his physical recovery as our family makes funeral plans and begins the healing process." He went on to say, "I don't know why Jacob did what he did last week, but I do know he is my brother. I speak for our family when I say we love him and forgive him. The prayers and support for my family have been deeply appreciated, and we ask for continued prayers for Jacob's healing by body, mind, and spirit." Timothy, the dad, also made a statement. He said, "Kathy has been my beloved wife of 32 years and a wonderful mother to our 4 sons. She loved nothing more than being a mother and a grandmother. She had a strong love of learning and was passionate about her Christian faith, natural health, and organic farming." So there are a lot of articles saying the family had forgiven Jacob. As far as I can tell, it's mainly Calvin who spoke on behalf of the family. I haven't really seen much from Timothy confirming that, but I'm guessing as a family they probably all did bond together and decided this was going to be their way forward. So Jacob remained in hospital until 2018. In October that year, he turned himself in after he learned that he had been indicted by a grand jury on murder charges. At the time, he pled not guilty to the 2 murder counts, and he was also charged with a firearm specification, according to a statement from the Stark County Sheriff. The sheriff said, "It is our hope that this arrest offers some closure to the Stockdale family and the entire community." The prosecutor said that Jacob purposefully killed his mother by shooting her in the back of the head and the face, and he killed his brother purposefully by shooting him in the face. A 20-gauge single-shot shotgun was used in both killings, according to the prosecutors. After he was taken into custody, Jacob underwent multiple competency exams. In January 2019, his attorney told the judge that he planned to file a plea for his client of not guilty by reason of insanity. But in 2021, Jacob was ruled competent to stand trial after a psychologist ruled that he was clinically sane when he committed the murders. The trial was delayed by the pandemic, and it was due to start in May 2021. It never went ahead, though, because Jacob ended up changing his plea. He pled guilty to 2 murder counts, and the 2 firearms charges were dismissed. In April 2021, Jacob, who was then 28, was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison for the murder of his mother and his brother. So I found his kind of inmate record online, and it says that his expected release date / parole eligibility date is September 18th, 2048. So if he does get out then, he'll be 56 years old, which is pretty crazy to me. That's still young enough to basically live a whole entire life. If he does get out then, whether or not he will, I guess, is another thing. But he can try for parole in that amount of time. So pretty crazy. Some things I did find interesting was when they spoke about in the obituary about James, about how he wanted to become an entertainment agent, which is interesting based on, him not, I guess maybe when they were adults, she let them make their own decisions, but it kind of goes against what Kathy had been trying to promote in The
Also,
Boys.
just her having a blog. Like, I'm just thinking about that now. Also, like, I know we said her going on a TV show for one, like, isn't a blog on the internet, which she, like, hates so much, but I guess they had to promote their band in some way, but it just seems a little, like, hypocritical. But I guess her whole thing is, like, I'm an adult.
Yeah. So the remaining family members, Calvin, Charles, and Timothy, all have social media. Calvin looks like he's got a family of his own. I'm assuming it was probably to the woman who he married in, according to Kathy's blog. They have, it looks like, 4 children at least together. Charles is out there living his life. Timothy's most recent post is from November last year. He's posted a song called Scars in Heaven. And he wrote, "Remembering my dear Catherine in heaven on her heavenly birthday." So his is not as active. Like there's a post he made in 2022 where he said, "Praising God for an answer to a prayer today." There's, there's not a whole lot on his. There's a few photos over the years, a few songs he shared, but they all seem to be doing pretty well. From what I can still tell, Timothy still lives in the house based on public records. So interesting that he chose to stay there.
I wonder what the family dynamic is like now. Like, if things are different.
When I did look at their social media, they are all friends. They're all commenting. Obviously, it doesn't mean much. I know it's just what you see on social media. But yeah, I do wonder.
I guess too. The ones who are left already didn't live at home anymore either.
Yeah. So in terms of a motive for the murders, we don't really know. Jacob has never come out and said, "I did it for XYZ reasons."
And there was no trial, so.
No trial. The family have never said. I know that his attorney did try to plead insanity and that didn't work. So it's all speculation. Obviously, a lot of the speculation is that it was because Kathy was controlling. Why, I know you said that in the episode it seems like Tim backed her up, but why did he commit these murders and then tried to take his own life when Tim wasn't there? Why was Kathy and the other brother the main target? We don't really know. I am so interested to know if he literally just snapped. Maybe he did have mental health issues, or was it to do with this crazy controlled lifestyle that they apparently lived?
I'm just curious what their life was like then at the time. Like, I'm sure it did have a lot to do with their strict upbringing. But then again, it's like, if they weren't allowed the internet or to do anything, essentially, did he know what he was missing out on? Like, and then it's like, I don't know, I think it's in Jurassic Park where they say, like, nature finds a way. Like, the kids, they find a way to find out what they're missing out on. So did he get a taste of, like, that his life is very much not normal and not fun, and that he's treated essentially like a slave? Even, like, was it Ruby Frankie's kids or the other family where the girl had to escape, where they had a bunch of kids and the 2 parents were weird. They like to go to Disney a lot. Any of the, do you know which one I mean? We did an episode on it. There's the 2 parents. There was a lot of kids. One of them, like, escaped out the window and
the Turpins. Turpins.
Yeah. But even those kids, they were under pretty strict surveillance. But they also found ways to, like, sneak their little iPads or whatever to get online. So I wonder if he had any access like that at the time.
One thing I do, like, so Jacob was still living at home. As we said, he was 25 at the time of the murders. The older brothers, Charles is only 1 year older than Jacob and Calvin is 4 years older. So in 2011, when Calvin got married, he would have only been in his early 20s, like 24-ish. So Jacob was still living at home at age 25, which for that family seems quite old. Like, I wonder, obviously every family is different, but Calvin and Charles had been gone for a while. Jacob was still at home. I wonder if there was a particular reason for that.
Like, what was he allowed to have a job, like another job at that point? Was he allowed to go out, and is that what it was?
Yeah.
Was she trying to like keep him small and like little and at home? I don't know. I'm just very curious about like what life was like then for them.
And why also the younger brother? Like, I could maybe understand the anger towards the mother if she was as controlling as she seemed, but why? I wonder why the brother was also included.
Yeah.
But we will likely never know. As I mentioned, it does seem like the family have understandably tried to scrub a lot of this from the internet. They haven't really spoken much about the crime since it happened.
I feel like they're also the types, like how the obituary still like included everyone, and they're like, we still love our brother. Like, obviously it's hard when it's your family, but I think it's very much their personality to want to make it seem like they're so forgiving, and like saying that what happened was wrong would almost be like saying their lifestyle was wrong in a way, and like that could have contributed to this, and I feel like they would never ever want to admit that.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, the husband hasn't remarried either. I think his social media says widowed. I don't know. He obviously could have another partner, but he still seems quite devoted to Kathy, making posts for her on her memorial and birthday dates online. One thing I did think when I was writing these notes is it does remind me a little bit of the Bever case out of Broken Arrow in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So they were two brothers who went on like basically a killing spree in 2015, and they murdered their parents and their three siblings, and their parents were also quite strict. Like I'm pretty sure they were all homeschooled. The mother wrote a lot online about their lives. Like, I think she was on Reddit, which again is a contradiction because she's sheltering her children, but then she's out there posting on Reddit about their lives. So it did remind me a little bit about that. Maybe the same type of motivation. We just don't know why it happened in this case.
Yeah, in that case, at least we learned a lot more about, because it did go to trial. But this one, it's like nothing was learned about, to the point where I didn't even know it happened. Like, I've never even heard of it before.
Neither have I.
It was connected to such a big show.
Heard of this case until you sent it to me ever. Like, I do feel like they are very private people, so they kind of, which is again a contradiction because they want to wife swap and put their whole life out there. But after this, they really, really retreated and have tried to just move on and not so much sweep it under the rug, but
sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, basically.
So that's really it for this case. Like we said, unfortunately, we'll probably really never know like a motive. I'd be shocked if any of them did like a tell-all or a documentary. I would love to see it, just because I am nosy and very, very curious. It seems like it shouldn't be out of the question since they literally went on wife swap, but I just don't see it happening. But we can hope. So that's it for this episode. As always, everything will be on the blog at truecrimesocietyblog.com. We'll link all the clips and sources and everything there. The manual, if you want to read more of it. It is very interesting. It's just very long.
Yeah, I'll link her blog online too if you want to have a look.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like we've given a good summary of what she was like, but if you really want to do a deep dive, there's probably hours and hours of reading.
Yeah. Make sure you're following us on True Crime Society on Instagram. We're always posting the latest updates and everything going on there as well. If you want to check out our accounts, mine is StephSum_. Olivia's TCS Olivia, if you want to see what we're up to. And also, if you want more content from us or ad-free content anyways, check us out on Patreon. Do all the episodes ad-free. We also do a weekly bonus episode, so you get 2 episodes a week, and we have some fun chats on there. We have a book club. I send pictures of Peep. We ask for episode ideas. Just do different things on there. So if you want more content from us, check us out on there. Otherwise, all the usual stuff. Leave us nice comments on Spotify or whatever platform. Make sure you're still following. Share to your Instagram stories what you guys are up to while you're listening to the podcast. We love to reshare them. And be nice to us, and maybe you could be the next listener of the week. But that is it. So thank you all so much for listening. Love you guys. Stay safe out there. Peace out.
See ya.